Yep.
Okay,
Are we good?
we're good.
So I have a script for remotely conducted open meetings. So this is Steve Walker, Chair of the Public Access Cable Committee. I will do a roll call to confirm that all the members and people anticipated are present. So when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Faith Beal.
Here. Aye.
Jeff.
Here.
Steve, not me.
Present.
And Pete, are you there? Because I see Debbie Lincoln's just come up.
You're on
Okay.
mute, you're on mute, Peter.
Just go to the bottom of the screen on the left side and click on the microphone button to unmute if you see it.
Can you click on that, Joe, as you're the host?
Yeah, I think you can unmute everybody. Oh,
He has to bring you in.
looks like he's unmuted. Peter,
Hi,
are you
Pete.
there?
Pete Lincoln, are you there?
He has to bring you in. I don't know how he does that.
Maybe turn up the volume.
He has to bring you in. I don't know how he does that.
Well, I guess when they manage to get... Uh-oh,
You're the
this
host now.
says I'm the host now.
Yep.
Is that all right?
Yep.
I like it.
Okay.
No. Jim,
Huh?
I don't know.
Debbie's,
He has to do it. He's the host.
Pete's box keeps lighting up as if they're saying something.
I can hear Debbie.
Hi,
Yeah.
how you doing, guys?
Good.
Hi, Pete.
Hi.
You need to click on the little video camera on the left bottom of your screen.
Show me where it is then.
It has a red line through it.
That?
There you go. Now you're on video. Can
Hey,
you-
there he is.
Okay.
So I'm just doing the roll call, and I just reached Pete Lincoln. Are you there?
I'm here.
There you go. I can see you. You're a bit fuzzy, but that's nothing new, right? So am I. Okay, we have one staff member present. Joe McLaughlin, if you're here, would you please say aye?
Aye.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So that's everyone else. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, be advised that this meeting is being recorded. And this meeting of the public access cable channel is being conducted remotely. The town of Lunenburg, in response to the COVID-19, is currently following the guidance from the Lunenburg Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Health, and the CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent the spread, and all town facilities are currently closed to the public. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. The order, which you can find posted on the town website on the COVID-19 Information Center page, accessed through the town manager's webpage, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded, so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such is required by law. At the moment, we have nobody for public comment, I believe. Hearing none, please note this meeting is being recorded and attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Ground rules for the meeting. This is new to me as well, so this could be fun. Before we turn to the first item on the agenda, so I will introduce each speaker, which almost certainly is Joe, because we're catching up on a lot of meetings. When they've concluded, whoever the speaker is, we go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking, or just be in a quiet room. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you. State your name before speaking. I believe that's primarily targeted at public participation. If members wish to engage with other members, please do so through the chair. So each vote taken at this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. I believe there's a thing somewhere you can click on to say you want to speak, but as we can see all of you, just put your hand up if you want to speak and I'll try and make sure it happens. Anyone have any comment on that at this point? Because that's what I've got. So I sent out a revised agenda. My apologies to Jeff, who was frantically trying to get an agenda out while he was busy working, but it had to have all the Zoom information added to it. And as we were running out of time, I just grabbed it by the neck, put it together and put it out there. So my apologies, Jeff, but that's where we got stuck. Are you okay with that?
No, that's fine. So next month, it's the same link, so I'll just include it on the agenda.
You'll get a new link for the next meeting,
Get
I think.
the new
I'm not
link.
sure it's
Okay.
the same one every time. Otherwise, it'll get to be very quick.
All right.
That was the roll call. Seeing no members of the public, hearing no members of the public, unless any committee member has a public comment,
No.
then we can move on to the minutes from the last meeting, which Jeff sent out quite some time ago. Does everybody have a copy?
Yes.
Anyone wish to make any comments on the minutes? This is from February the 3rd.
Move to accept the minute. Oh,
Second,
I can have a motion to accept if there's no comment. Is that Steve?
yes. Move to accept.
Would someone like to second?
Faith,
Faith?
second.
Anyone have any further comments? That being the case, the motion's on the floor. You're in an order on my screen, so I'll go around the screen order that I have. So all those in favor, Faith,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Steve, not me,
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
So that's unanimous in accepting the minutes as presented by Jeff. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the manager's report for March, at which point I'll pass it over to Joe. Feel free to point out any details that are specifically interesting to us.
Well, I did not break my report down by month, March, April, and May. I just made a list of updates that happened during March, April, and May. So I sent out the list. I revised it today, made some updates to it. So I'm just going to go down the list.
Well, sorry, can I suggest that we do the financials for March and April, and then we do the whole meeting the way we normally do for May? Would that work for you?
Sure, I didn't take out my,
So does everybody have the financials that Joe sent out for March? And thank you for resending them, Joe. I appreciate that.
oh, no problem. All right, for March, nothing, nothing is outstanding as far as financial. Things slowed down with, obviously, with videographers because everything came to a standstill mid-March. February, we got the Comcast payment. And in February, we got an interest payment, but we did not get any interest payment at least in my March report. The after expenses, the total we have at the end of March was $687,754. And that's basically all I have for March. There wasn't any large outstanding expenses at all. Does anyone have any questions about March finances?
None.
Nope.
Okay.
Did you want
Mhm.
Did you want to cover the program analysis as well?
Yes, actually, in March, we got up to 69% local and 31% downloaded or access shared. And we were up to 124 programs. Then when April came around, I mean, everything came to a screeching halt. I did add programs from the database, Mass Access, and other sources. So in April, we went down to 66% local and 34% downloaded. So that was, yeah, and I only added I only added one program, and yeah, no, actually, it wasn't one program, it was 6 programs, but they were mostly downloaded because there was nothing going on. So that's March and April's program analysis. April's finances.
Hang on. That's sorry. We should accept that one and then move to the next one. Is that all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I see Faith with a hand raised, making a motion, or do you want a question?
No, making a motion to accept the manager's report as presented for
Second,
the month of March.
Second, I like that. That's good. Seconded by Steve. Any further discussion? Hearing none by roll call. Faith,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Steve, not me.
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
thank you all. That was also unanimous. So Joe, if you would move on to the next one, I would appreciate it.
April finances, we ended up at the end of April at $680,469.05. In April, we had to start using the Castis Stream service, which allows Zoom to communicate with our Castis system and do a live stream. It's a $79 a month fee, but we need it in order to stream Zoom meetings to the Castis. So that's been coming off of my credit card, and I've been getting reimbursed. It's a COVID-19 expense, which Karen Brochu is tracking, so that the state may be refunding a lot of the money that was expensed for COVID back to the towns. So I believe, well, actually, I have to go back. I think I started the stream in late March. No, I didn't. I started it in April. So, so I've already paid April, May, and March, April, and May. I just have one more for June, and then I guess we figure out where we go from there. Other expenses, we just had consultant expenses, and starting in March and continuing in April, we are now have payroll numbers for videographers, which you will see in your April financials. As far as, well, there was no payment to, there was no payment from Comcast in April, but we did receive, no, I guess we did not receive interest payments in April.
Or in March.
Or in March. Correct. So again, there was nothing outstanding in the financials for that month. Only, like I said, consultant, the Castis stream expense, and the addition of videographer payroll. And the final number, as I mentioned, was $680,469.05. And that's all I have for April's. And I did go through the program analysis. There were 6 programs added since March, added to, and which brought us up to 130 programs so far this year on Channel 9.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else?
Not for April. Now, May.
No. Motion.
Oh,
Motion to accept.
Thank you,
Motion to
Steve. Can we have a second?
Faith, second.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Any further discussion? Hearing none by roll call. Faith,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
That's unanimous again. Thank you all. So if we move on to the May financials, Joe?
Okay, the May financials, we did receive a payment from Comcast in the amount of $49,833.56, which went down from our last payment of over 51,000. So, and in total this year so far, we've received over 208,000 through Comcast.
Okay, can I ask if that 49,000, sorry, the 51,000 in February, did that include an interest payment?
Yes.
So we're not getting interest, or are we at the moment?
Well,
Oh, I'm
what
sorry, I
happened-
see.
what happened was I ended up putting an interest payment. If you look at the May financials, the first sheet I give you, which is the expense and revenue report, it's the landscape report
Yeah,
that gives every month. I did add April interest in there because it didn't show up until May. And it's $1,804.
that was April.
Right. When I went through my April finances, I didn't have an interest payment in there for April because it didn't get posted until May, but it had an April date. So I went ahead and put it in the April interest, which was over $1,800.
Are you sure that didn't include the March one rather than the May one?
We didn't receive any interest in March.
No, but didn't it come in April? That's what I'm asking.
On the report, it stated April, but when I gave you my April report, they hadn't posted it yet. It got posted in May with April dates.
Okay, so we can't really tell from this if our Comcast revenue is going down, right? I guess we live in strange times.
Well, it has gone down. It went down by $1,000.
Okay, we need to keep an eye on that. Thank you.
Okay.
If I may ask, Steve,
Please.
will the COVID-19 services that they're providing, the extra services, come out of these payments?
I don't know how it's going to be set up with Karen. I don't know. She's submitting it to the state and then she finds out what she's going to get back.
No, I'm talking, I'm assuming Comcast is making sure that everyone is connected. They're doing more availability so that people who don't have service can get service. Will that come out of the money they pay us because it's services provided?
It
I don't
shouldn't do according to the contract, but who knows what they're going to try pulling at this point.
Right. That would be the only thing to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm also concerned with unemployment, that people will reduce their Comcast package, so the numbers will go down because of that.
True. Didn't think of that. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Joe, program.
Okay. So, interestingly enough, the program analysis for Channel 9 for May is 136 programs, which were another 6 programs added. And I checked last year's numbers, and in June we had 128 for the full year. So we're already almost 10 programs above last year's. And we're we're at 64% local, 36% access share. Last year, at the end of the year, we were 63% local. So we're doing, even with this bump in the road, we're doing pretty good, keeping up with adding programs. They're not all local, but we are keeping our local programming over 60%.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
So why don't we have a motion for the financials for May, and then we'll go to the manager's report.
Move to accept the financials for May.
Second,
Steve. Seconded, well, I think Jeff just won that.
Yep, good.
Anyone have any further comments? Hearing none by roll call. Faith,
Aye.
Jeff,
aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Pete,
Aye.
thank you all. So unanimous. Joe, would you care to go through the other piece, which really covers 3 months worth of work? So,
Sure. We'll start out with the Castus, pardon me, and the problems with the drive. I also sent just a general overview of the Castus issues. You should have that sheet. But basically in late March, we started getting warnings that our RAID array for the Castus system was starting to fail, and it was one disk that was starting to fail. So IT in early April got a replacement drive for me, went to install it, and that was bad. So they sent that one back. They attained 3 more drives, thinking we only needed 1, but they had 3. They ended up installing a new drive, and Castus was in the process of rebuilding that drive in early April, and the RAID failed because there was a second drive that was failing. Now, just keep in mind that these drives are warranted for 3 years, and we have had the Castus for 4 years. The first week in May, we continued to try to solve the problem, tried to rebuild the RAID. Our IT guy who was helping me, Dan Nadaraski, was working with me and Castus and trying to get this RAID working again. He sent an email to Steve Walker explaining what the problem was. He actually, the first week in May, tried to duplicate one of the drives that was having some problems, just to try to find out if maybe we could use that duplicated drive to try to rebuild the RAID. That failed. May 8th, 9th, and 10th, Castus went down because 3 drives failed. And they were continued to try to rebuild, but it wasn't working. So finally on May 11th, we wiped the disks clean. It was just, there was no way to rebuild that RAID. It wasn't working. There were too many errors and warnings and everything else. So the disks were wiped clean, and there was a data transfer done where Castus hooked into my backup drive, where I backed up all of the video data for channel 8 and 9, as well as schedules, recordings, templates. I backed it all up one Friday night, and right before everything failed. And now I'm trying to get into a routine to continue to do backups. But that was on May 11th, and the 12th and 13th, they spent up transferring data onto the newly cleaned drives. The other 2 drives, actually, the data was wiped out, but also there was a couple of drives that were swapped out that were having warnings as well. So that's basically what happened. I can't say enough about Castus being supportive, and our own IT guy, Dan. They kept me sane. I was really struggling with getting this whole thing fixed, and they both stepped up and did the best they could, and it all worked out.
Good. I did notice you were offline, yes.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And I announced it on Facebook so people knew. That was basically all I could do.
Right.
Steve?
Anyone have any other questions?
Yes, I do. Faith?
Faith?
You said that the warranty ran out. But isn't it unusual for 3 of the discs to fail?
Yeah, it is.
Drives, I mean?
Yeah, it started with the first one failing, and then a second one failed, and then the third one just couldn't carry the load. It couldn't rebuild.
Well,
Dan
given that-
and IT did an RMA to return the drives to Castus. And I don't know if we're getting new ones back or getting a refund. I haven't talked to him about that.
Okay, that's where I was going.
Yeah,
They should
but
take some responsibility for their product failing so miserably.
yeah. Well, IT also, paid for those discs. So I'm in the process of doing purchase requisitions because the total cost is going to be about $426 for 3 Western Digital 4 terabyte hard drives.
Okay.
Or did I say 4? No, 3. 3 4 terabyte hard drives. And that's where we're at. It's been very dependable since.
But that's only been a few
concern-
days since.
The concern I have is, and I tried to raise this with Dan, I'm not sure he understood what I was trying to say. We put 3 disks in when the Castus server was new. They probably all came from the same batch. The point of a RAID array of this type, it's a RAID 5, is one disk can completely fail. You can take it out, put a new one in, and it'll rebuild the entire system without interrupting the service. However, if 2 fail, then you lose that ability. And what I was trying to get him to do, but I'm not sure he understood, was when we get 3 new disks, what we should really do is really get 5, put 3 in, get the system up, which Joe and Dan have done between them, and we're all grateful, thank you. After a year, take one of the disks out and put a new one in. And then after another year, take another disk out and put a new one in, and cycle them so they use different amounts, so that the likelihood of multiple failures goes down. But I made the effort, but I don't think Dan understood quite what I was trying to do there.
Yeah.
Raids are strange beasts.
Right, they are. And I have to ask him about the RMA. I'm not sure if we're getting discs back or if we're getting some kind of credit. I don't know. He was working with Castus on that. But I do know we have to pay for the hard drives that IT purchased to do this.
But they were only, what, $170 or something each?
142 each.
Okay.
And there's 3.
Yeah. Any more questions or comments on the Castus? Hearing none, the floor is yours, Joe.
Okay, the second thing on my list was the Castus upgrade to a 3rd channel. It was installed on May 15th. Unfortunately, I have not been able to get a hold of Comcast. They're ignoring my calls and my emails. So I'm going to keep trying to get a date when they have a channel that we can hook into. But I just started populating the third channel with educational materials. It's got a long way to go. There's a lot of space, but I've been researching and looking in different areas and trying to find different programs that would fit, that would, suit that channel.
Is it Scott you're trying to reach
Yes,
and he doesn't reply?
I've sent him 3 emails and called him once.
I have a
Please,
question.
please.
Is there going to be any coordination with the Lunenburg Middle High School to do some programs for the educational channel?
Yeah, I mean, I do plan on meeting with the principal and maybe an advisor or two to see what we can get on there.
I remember you did speak to them a year or 2 ago, and I was just wondering if anybody followed through with you as opposed to you seeking them. Has there been any initiative on the side of the school?
No,
schools?
none.
And
But
the Boys and Girls Club, I remember you worked with them doing
Mhm.
some programming. Maybe they would be interested in putting on some educational programs or safety programs or nutrition or something like that for the other children.
yeah, I can reach out to them. I haven't talked to them in a while. So
Yeah, the Boys and Girls Club, they're closed down for the summer. So, I mean, probably in the fall, or you can always contact coordinators. But
Yeah.
I know, yeah, they're not doing summer camp this summer. So,
And I know the schools are working on what will be happening in the fall. So they're all kind of busy trying to figure out how to reconfigure how school is going to happen. So you may not get a lot of responses back, but you may want to just send a note to the superintendent saying that we have a third educational channel so that it's on her mind, it's in the back burner. And as she makes arrangements for the fall, maybe some of the online stuff that they're talking about can be used in the Channel 3. So you may
Right.
want to offer that kind of access to
Yeah.
her. How's that, Joe?
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I will keep trying Comcast to try to get that channel number and the connection. They already put a transmitter in. They just need to connect it to the right channel. So that's in progress. The third thing I have on my list, and I mentioned it earlier, was that the COVID-19 expenses need to be into Karen Brochu, and that the only 2 COVID expenses that we've had, one, the reoccurring Castus stream, so that we can connect Zoom to Castus, and that's $79 a month. And the other expense was a $293 laptop for Emily Bodkin so that she could facilitate the remote recordings from Zoom to Castus. But those are the only 2.
I have a question.
Mhm.
If, given how life has changed since the virus, it may be something that committees will want to continue to do, to meet by way of Zoom or other software. Is this a recurring expense that can be gotten more cheaply if there's a subscription or something? Is there a way to do it cheaper than $79 a month if you bought a year service or something else? Since I think this trend is going to continue for quite a while.
Yeah, there is an option. Actually, $79 is the cheapest way to go with Castus. They have an option. I believe it's about $149 a month, and it gives you a static IP address, which means we wouldn't have to plug in a new address into the code for the software to work.
Right.
I think it's worth saving the money for us to. I mean, I've trained all the videographers on how to set up the stream, and so at the moment the $79 is the cheapest.
Okay. My second question is, is it something we should budget for as just a static budget item, since I think this will be going on for quite a while?
Do I think so? I would have to consult with Heather, because at some point she's going to call the committees and boards to meet physically in person. And I'm not sure, according to the governor's plan, what phase that is. So this could, I'm assuming through June we'll need it.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my other Castus update. Oh, and the COVID expenses. Eric Foster has been doing the community news from home since March. And he has a little studio at home, so that's working out pretty well. He's not doing it weekly because there's not a lot of news, but it's working out so far.
Good.
We had an air conditioner installed in the control room in May, finally. So that's working out well.
Did the DPW pay for that?
They did. Nobody asked me for money.
All
All
right.
right.
Nice.
Oh, that was, yeah.
Joe, what about your office area in the school?
That I would like air conditioning, but nothing's
Absolutely.
nothing's
We
been
would
set up.
too, when we meet there this summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't done anything about that yet. Maybe it's time to look at that. Bless you.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I will
Put that on your to-do list.
okay. The next thing is one of the things I've been doing is using Dropbox. I don't know if you're familiar with it,
Mhm.
but it's a good program to transfer video files. Eric transferred his news program to me. Tom Alonso transferred his Memorial Day program speech to me. I'm actually using a free trial. It's ending in about 5 days, and I wanted to talk about considering having a yearly subscription to Dropbox, just so it makes makes it easier for them to transfer files to me.
You do that?
It
What would
wouldn't.
it cost?
Well, I sent you today with the revised manager's report.
Oh, yeah, right. I saw that.
I sent you, and it would be about $450 a year
Mhm.
for three, starting with 3 users. It's 2G transfers, $12.50 per user per month. It's something that I haven't concluded that I would use it enough, but I wanted to kick around the idea. In case this continues, I would rather, not have people drop off camera cards with me. And so that's the information I have. I guess I'm leaning toward it, but I wanted some input on that. If you have
Joe,
any
when
questions.
when it says 3 users, is it really just you, the user, and they come in as guests?
No, they would have access to the account.
So does every videographer need an account?
That would get expensive. I would just
know.
have, two videographers have the account, and we could always, give away passwords when we need to.
Okay. Faith, you were trying to say something. I'm sorry.
Well, I know I used Dropbox in educational software and for like students to turn in their work or for there's just multiple uses for that, and I think if it makes life easier for Joe and the videographers, I would recommend it.
I agree.
Peter, were you trying to say something?
No.
Oh, must have nodded off and hit the microphone.
So anyway, that's something I would be interested in getting a subscription for.
Well,
Okay.
then I'd like to make a motion that Joe gets a subscription to Dropbox for the station and for the videographers.
So that would be useful for Diane Baseball.
Do I hear a second?
Second. Oh, Pete, sure.
That was Steve.
Oh, Pete, I think seconded.
Oh, Peter,
Yes, I
good
did.
for you. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none by roll call. Faith,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Be strange if you said no, seeing you proposed it. So. Okay.
All right, next thing up, wireless microphones. We did receive them 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I was waiting on some cables that we needed to order for Travis to do the setup. So we're scheduled tomorrow at 12:30 to do the setup at Town Hall for the microphones, and he'll be doing the transmitter as well. Something that the next thing is something that Heather wanted us to address again was the remote participation from the Bellotta room for committee or board members who can't make it physically, for them to call into the meeting. We were starting to look at that before the pandemic hit, and I'm going to work with Steve Melandrinos and Travis to figure out what works best. It might be a Zoom type of call where they would be, the call would be transferred to a TV monitor. So it's up in the air what we can do right now. We were sort of in the middle of all of it when this started. So I'm going to be working now with Steve and Travis to figure out the best way to do that. Okay. As far as programming, I've been putting up a lot of COVID-19 programming and PSAs from the state, Mass Department of Health. And also there was a really neat children's COVID-19 book that someone uploaded to Mass Access that I downloaded. And I was also putting on the governor's daily updates in the evening. So that sort of covered my COVID programming.
That would be something you could put on the educational channel too when you
Exactly.
get it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I just put that we continue to cover meetings through Zoom and Castis. YouTube is running live. And I do Facebook Live for most meetings as well. So that's continuing. Right now, we have 4 videographers working. We've got Emily, John Dextrays, Scott Finnegan, Eric Foster, Kayla and Kevin, Kayla Raffett and Kevin Bowsum have not been doing any work because they were covering events and there's no events. So hopefully if things open up over the next month or so, we can get back onto getting them busy. But that's where we're at right now. Peter Keto and Meadow Galbo never filled out employee forms. So I don't know if we're going to get Peter back. And Meadow, I believe she graduated and I think she moved back home, which is in North Carolina. So we've got 4 dedicated people working right now. We're covering Board of Assessors meetings, not live, but we're getting in the recordings. We're also getting in recordings from other meetings that we're posting. Lucky 13, talking baseball season started in May. So we're
Yay,
back on
Peter.
track. Woohoo!
Right.
We've also added the program Democracy Now!, which is a popular news program. And I run that every day at 2:30. I have to go in and download it every day from Telview Connect. But it runs at 2:30 every day, and it's a really good program. Memorial Day. The Memorial Day program we created, just about every town department participated, as well as Boy Scouts, pastors, churches, and so forth. But it ran on the 25th of May at 10 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Channel 8 and Channel 9. It got a great response. I've been hearing from people just saying how much they liked it. So that was something that started in late April, and we finished on I finished the edits on May 23rd. So that was a huge success. Right now we are preparing for town meeting. I'm going to have the stage cameras manned, unlike before, because of the way it's been set up to have a lot of precaution. I can't just leave the cameras fixed on the microphones. So we're going to have each camera manned. And actually Heather asked if we could have someone adjust microphones. So Kevin Bowsum is coming in to adjust microphones for the town meeting. So we'll be setting up on the 12th, if not earlier during the week, whenever we can get access to the building. We'll be setting up at least by the 12th for the meeting on the 13th. And we have Travis, myself, Scott, Emily, and of course, Kevin doing microphones. So that's town meeting news. We'll be covering the LHS Seniors Motorcade this Wednesday, weather permitting. It's going to start, I believe they start at 10 or they line up at 9:30. And I just got a call today from the advisor as to some good places to set up. So we'll be doing the motorcade. Scott Finnegan is working on a project with a life coach or a holistic healer. It's going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be a number of episodes, but I'm not sure yet. But he's working on that, and that should be done in June. And one last thing, I did mention that I'm working on educational programming. I've downloaded a Open Mind story time out of Springfield, the Curious Giraffe Show. I have the Knights Roundtable, and the school committee meeting right now. And I'm going to be transferring some other programs over, but there's a lot to fill, so I'm working on that. And I think that's the top 19.
It's a good top 19.
The top 19.
Anyone have any further questions for Joe?
Steve, we don't usually need to approve the report, do we?
We don't normally approve this piece of the report. We approve the financials. which is why I
Financials
did it.
only, okay.
So I'd like to thank Joe, actually, who's doing some sterling work,
Yeah.
keeping things running, and I really appreciate that, Joe, so thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
There's a town meeting coming up, which, given that I'm high risk, I probably should not attend. I've asked Heather how we can handle that, and I haven't heard back
Yeah.
from her. Because large gatherings are not recommended for people who are borderline senile, like me. Sorry, old like me. So I'm waiting to hear back from her to see what the options are, if it can be done remotely or if someone else would be asked to do it. So I'll keep you informed by email once I understand what's happening. Our next meeting should be the first Monday in July, which just may coincide with a holiday, right?
Mhm.
Actually, the first Monday in July
It's the
is
6th.
the 6th. Is that we need to have this one because it's the meeting we use to kick off the financials for the year. So is the 6th okay with everybody?
Yes.
Yep.
It should be pending, all the music things have been canceled so far, so it should be.
Okay. Is that everybody? Joe?
I'm fine with it.
So unless something changes, anyone have anything else they want to bring before this august body? Hearing nothing, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Okay.
Steve, second.
second.
I just said it.
I heard a second from Faith. That's
Yeah.
actually a good way of doing it.
I copied.
Not
Steve.
needing discussion. Thank you all. I appreciate this, and I'll try and do something to get a better internet connection because you've all been choppy the whole time. So,
Oh,
Too bad. Not too bad. All right.
okay.
Enjoy,
Can we-
everybody.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Thanks, Joe.
Stay
Good job.
safe.
Awesome.
Joe.
stay
Bye-bye.
well.